What is up, everybody? Welcome to Revv Time. Today we're going to talk about how different guitars respond within a tracking environment into basically an amplifier that's set to more of a static setting. In other words, you're not really changing the amp at all, you're just changing guitars to get different sounds within a track. So in this case, I'm using the G20. I am miking it up. I'm miking up my 2x12 cabinet that has a Celestion V30 in it, and I'm using a Royer 121 mic combination. And where I thought I would start is because we're focusing on more of just how different guitars would sit in a rhythm track, I thought I'd start with this Les Paul and then bounce to what I consider the classic three. So we've got Les Paul, and then I'm going to bounce to a Strat style guitar, and then a Telecaster guitar, and then I'll probably pick one or the other because I'm just going to do a stereo pass of the rhythm track. So we'll have one guitar on one side and of course the other on the other side. So let's start with the Les Paul because I kind of wrote the rhythm track and dialed the amp to this Les Paul. So on the amplifier, you can see I'm in channel 2. There's no aggression modes on, but I do have the wide switch on. So here's how that's sounding with this style riff that I wrote. Now this guitar has Lawler Imperial humbuckers in it. And what I was going for was more of just kind of a brighter but thicker kind of Les Paul tone. So it's not necessarily dark and woolfy. It's got some stringiness and almost chiminess up top. So now that we know how this sounds, let's switch to the Strat Macaster, and we'll see how that sounds. Don't mind me, just being unprofessional and not muting things or even bothering to hit the volume pedal or anything like that when I switch guitars. Okay, so if I was going to double this, I would still go back position. So without changing anything on the amp, and I'm not going to when I actually track this, let's see what the Strat sounds like. A little bit out of tune. Sorry about that. Close enough for jazz though. So this is a Schecter Nick Johnston. I believe these pickups seem like they're fairly hot because it's hitting the amp pretty good. But there is much more of a stringiness there. There's kind of an openness to it. When I say stringy, it's like I say that because I don't want to say twangy, but you can hear that resin off the strings. There's just an element of almost like organic, just stringiness there. It's not just all gain. And I would definitely use that on one side or the other with the Les Paul. But with that in mind, let's try a Tele style guitar. Oh, there's probably some way I could have done this better. That's all right though. This is a Friedman Telly style guitar. Let's just see how it sounds playing the same riff, because I'm trying to decide now, honestly, which guitar I'm going to want with the Les Paul. So this guitar, to me, is even more stringy. It does have a little bit less output. And the mids are different. It's almost a little bit brighter in the upper mids on this, whereas that Strat back position pickup, to me, has a little bit more of almost like a mid, I don't want to say honk, but there's a bark there. I'm not sure, the jury's still out on whether I would use this on the other side. This one has, honestly, to me, a little bit similar top end to the Les Paul guitar. It's not as, doesn't obviously have as much gain, and it's not quite as fat in the mids, but it does have a similar top. But that's the whole idea, is just switching guitars can almost be exactly what you want. Now, if I was in I'm doing this for purposes of demonstration. There's things I would probably change a little bit on the amplifier from guitar to guitar. But in this case, with that static setting, the way I have that amplifier set right now, the Telly sounds really good, but I think I like the top end on the Stratocaster better. Let me switch back to the Les Paul just real quick. Yeah, so if this is kind of my left side guitar, it's obviously got more gain and it's thicker, but there's a top end thing with the Telecaster that's a little bit similar to this, whereas the Strat style guitar, that pickup, let me switch really quick. I think that pickup's going to work. Yeah, I'm just really liking the top end. There's less gain there, and it does sound more stringy, but I think the top end on this guitar is going to work better with the Les Paul. So, we know how the three guitars sound with a static setting on the G20 in the overdrive channel with the wide switch on, no aggression modes. I'm going to track that kind of 40-second-ish rhythm thing, and I'll probably end up using this guitar with the Les Paul. The only thing that's going to get added to it, obviously, is I'll do a programmed drum track and I'll play bass with it, but you guys will get to hear how this guitar and the gold Les Paul sounded in a track with that static setting. So as always, I really appreciate you guys tuning in, and we will see you next time.